Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be taking a look back at some stadiums that, for whatever reason, were never able to reach their true potential. There's a lot of interesting quirks that go into the timeline of these stadiums. What happened? Was it the weather? Was it a stadium malfunction? Was it something weird? A lot of different things to look at. And the first one is Olympic Stadium. And of course, it is the roof that wouldn't open. I did a video on this separately. That tower that holds the cables above the roof, that's actually was supposed to be a hotel turned into office space that's been vacant for 30 years. I saw an article back in 2022 that they were trying to renovate the roof, but yeah, it was just the design of it way back when, Montreal getting a new stadium for the Expos. They were going to use Olympic Stadium for a number of different things. It kind of does look like a cookie cutter. And then on top of that, the roof only being functional for a short number of years, so it becomes a de facto dome, which is basically the worst case scenario for an MLB stadium, and it makes the thing completely dreary, just really, really bad atmosphere. And you're also talking about a ton of seats, a lot of extended upper deck seating. It really hurt the stadium. And also, there were a few different times when the roof ripped. And it's just a design that never should have been implemented. It looks ugly. I think they were trying to go with this futuristic, cool thing. We'll attach it to a tower. It'll look like an alien. But they barely were even able to do that because the thing never worked. So Olympic Stadium, they should have just gone with a regular retractable roof that, definitely worked. And it does kind of have that shape of the European soccer stadiums with a major overhang. But when the roof was open, it does look passable at least. With it closed, it's just really dreary, really bad. So Olympic Stadium, due to the roof malfunction, it never reached its full potential. Next, it is the Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Very unfortunate. Very little shelf life here for a beautiful, beautiful ballpark. It is just the weather. And I was doing some looking into this. They did propose possibly putting overhangs over the upper deck to create shade, but it was deemed not possible or not realistic to get, enough fans shaded to where it became viable. If you guys don't know, it got so bad with the sun in June and July, they would have to have Sunday games start at 7 o'clock at night. Like with the MLB, they always do the one Sunday night baseball game. But when the Rangers were at home, they would just play a regular game on Sunday night. Like no MLB team does that. They had to do it because they could not play during the day because of the sun. And when they did play during the day, you would see no one in the stands. It was just empty seats. Everyone was packed into the shaded areas because it is just too hot. And great stadium, amazing retro right field grandstand. Josh Hamilton hitting all those home runs up there. Really nice batter's eye center field patch. And then you got a great, unique feature. The stadium, it is enclosed, which normally you would think is a negative, but I do think kind of similar to Rogers Center with the hotel, Rangers Ballpark in Arlington with the offices is a really unique, cool factor. The left field upper deck, that really hasn't aged well. That would not be built like that today. But this stadium, if it was not for the sun issue with how hot it was, it would certainly it's a perfectly fine ballpark. The exterior is beautiful. It's got great bricking, and it's just really unfortunate. And it also was an extreme hitters park, which I love. Or I don't know if I would call it an extreme hitters park, but it's like at least top 10. Back when it was around for MLB, they had big gaps, but you would still get a ton of home runs hit. The new park they have, Globe Life Field, it's kind of like a fair park, maybe even more of a pitcher's park. I'm really not a fan of it. I understand Rangers fans like it. Certainly, it has air conditioning. That's great. But if there was any way to possibly put a retractable roof on this instead of getting a new stadium, I think they should have done that. I don't know how viable it would have been, but this was a really, really good stadium that had awesome, unique features to it, but it would have been a huge renovation if they would have tried to do that. But obviously the sun caused this stadium not to reach its full potential and really hindered its overall lifespan. Unfortunate situation there. The next one we're going to be looking at is the Metrodome. So this was really late in the Metrodome's life. It had the snow collapse. I'm sure everyone remembers that. They had to replace the roof. And they replaced the roof with a see-through. If you look at all those squares, you can see like a see-through reflective little, design that really did enable real natural light to be let into a dome. And it's just so sad that it took them this long to do it. At this point, when it was installed in 2012, 2011, the Metrodome clearly was obsolete. It was done. It has a very bland seating design. It's just a 2-deck approach. But if you look at the game footage when you watch on TV, you can see, this is from 2013, it almost looks like they're outside. Like legit, that's in the Metrodome. That is because of the roof design that allows more natural light to be let into it. And then you look back at 2011, but you can definitely tell the difference. It looks darker in this image, in the 2011 one, before the roof was changed, than the newer one. It does look better and like it's outside. So that's just a real shame with the Metrodome. Certainly, I'm not expecting them to keep the Metrodome or anything like that. But if they would have put that in like the year 2000 or 2001, you want to talk about a huge improvement. They should have done something like that in Tropicana Field. But Tropicana Field is so bad. They've got all those catwalks. I'm not even sure they could do something like that to the roof. They would probably just have to put a new one into it. I wonder how much that would have cost to do something like that at Tropicana Field back in like the year 2000. I don't even know if they had the technology to do a paneling like that back in 2000, but that is a really nice design, and it obviously is obsolete, so they go to US Bank, they go to Target Field, the Twins, and the Vikings, but the Metrodome, unfortunately, couldn't live up to its true potential. They finally install something that lets natural light in. It only has 2 years left. What a sad story that is. And then Lone Depot Park. So Lone Depot Park is just beautiful. Lone Depot Park is amazing for games in March. Unfortunately, the MLB season does not start until April. So, going right into the humid, scattered thunderstorms months, it's always going to be closed. This roof is open like 2% of the time. When it is open, I think this is a top 10 park in baseball. It is beautiful. You have the window open, you have the roof open, the sun shining, great weather. It's just never open. So this ballpark can never really reach its true potential. Again, if you're talking about it being closed 98% of the time, that is a de facto dome stadium. You can call it a retractable roof, but every time you watch games on TV, it does have some natural light because the window's there, but still, that is a dome stadium. So just really sad that, it would be great. February, March, great months for this with fair weather in Miami. But baseball season, June, July, August, this thing's going to be closed 100% of the time due to the humidity and due to the scattered thunderstorms that they always get in Florida around that time of the year. If they were able to open it, there would be just amazing sunsets with it open and then with that window open as well. It is really sad, but that's kind of what you get with retractable roofs. They're going to be closed unless it is absolutely perfect weather. They will always be closed. And then this is a very obvious one. So the Oakland Coliseum not being able to reach its full potential because of Mount Davis. So they took an MLB stadium and made it multi-purpose. That's always going to completely kill the stadium, and that's exactly what happened. They wanted to get the Raiders. They added a wall of 20,000 seats and about 3 decks of suites. You can see beforehand, it's got a nice view center field. It does legitimately look like it has that Coliseum look to it with the 3 sections going around, but then it's open. And it does have some legitimate outfield seating. There's definitely potential with this stadium. Looking at it by today's standards, you would have to get a decent, better batter's eye. You would have to reconfigure the seating in the outfield. But those are very, very easy renovations to make. And then also you would have to maybe remove some of that foul territory as well. They add Mount Davis into it, and it completely kills any chance this ballpark had of being good, and it's been one of, if not the worst ballparks, for the last 2 decades. There's an interesting design before Mount Davis. that was an idea. Maybe they bring the Raiders in and just put up extension stands on the one side. But of course, they needed more seating to be able to attract an NFL team. So Mount Davis hurt the potential of that stadium and really hindered its chance at being a good ballpark, unfortunately. But those are just some different examples of stadiums that, for whatever reason, whether a roof wouldn't open, whether it's too hot out, whether they install something, put more seating up, just some reasons that stadiums were never able to reach their true potential. I would say another one could be Progressive Field. When you take a look at what they did to the right field upper deck, it was due to poor attendance, but I really did like Progressive Field, the seating of it. Again, the reason they did that renovation, which turned out to be a complete disaster, was because of attendance. They could not get a single person to sit up there because they could not get enough people to the game. So it was just a wall of empty seating. It basically looks like a multi-purpose stadium with like 3,000 seats, not touched game after game after game. And then that causes the horrible renovation, and that's hurt the stadium as well. So that is another reason that a stadium has not been able to reach its full potential. In a perfect world, Progressive Field gets better attendance and they're able to leave the seating as is. And the 2016 World Series looks a lot better, but it is a shame that ended up happening. Either way, guys, those are just some different examples of stadiums that were not able to reach their full potential. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.